Yo, so welcome to Ron's opinion. Don't matter. Wow, yeah. Want to get into something. My question to people out there right now is that how do y'all feel about what Joe Biden did? Are y'all good with it or not? Let a brother know. Are y'all good with it or not? Let a brother know. What Joe Biden did, personally, I expected it, but that's what they do. That's what they do. But I personally expected him to do it, but I saw it going a different way. And as people come into the live or whatever case may be, I'll get into why I saw it being done a different way, which probably a lot of people did, but just didn't emphasize on it. But yeah, him pardoning his son. That's funny. That's funny. Like it's so like at the end of the day, if you're gonna pardon your son, I get it. That's your son. You don't want your son in jail, whatever. But I think where a lot of people have the problem, bigger problem with Joe Biden is that he emphasized so much on the rule of law. Oh well, no one's above the law, no one's above this, no one's above that. And he kept emphasizing on the fact that no one's above the law. So with him saying that, it comes off as extremely hypocritical when you turn around and allow your son, after the things that he did, essentially just to get away with it. Basically, just okay, it is what it is, but you let your son basically get away with his crimes. So why were you so big time bent on the rule of law, but then when it came down to yours, you took a different approach? Make that make sense. What's up, Mike, in the building? How's it going? Yeah, make that make sense. You took a different approach once you decided to do it your way. Now, here's the thing. I saw this playing out, and I already had a good, strong feeling that he was going to pardon his son, but I just saw it going a different rate. I thought of them looking at it in a different way. And what I thought they were going to do was they was hoping that he would win the election, right? This is just my opinion on this. They was hoping Joe Biden would win the election when he was actually the front runner of the Democratic Party. This is what Joe Biden, I think his plan was. Once he got into office and they would have won an election, he would have probably let his son sit for a couple of years and then turned around and pardoned him a little later. That's what I thought he was going to do. That's what my thought was, his plan. That plan went sour when they pretty much pushed him out as the front runner. All right, so now you push him out as the front runner, and then now we got Kamala Harris there. So their thought pattern changes slightly. Says, okay, we get Kamala Harris. She wins the election. We let my son's going to eventually go to jail, but I'm going to let him sit for a little while. And then Kamala Harris could have pardoned him. And then they could have kind of made it look like, well, at least he was in jail for a while. He paid, he spent time in prison and stuff like that. So that's why he kept talking that way, because they already had that stronghold on. They thought that they was going to win this election. So that was their plan. And I'm not sure if that's, but that's the way I'm looking at it. And I said, you know what, this is probably how they thought it out. If you're on this live, please hit the like button. Please hit the subscribe button. I appreciate it very much. Thank y'all for hanging in there. Y'all might want to hang in there as long as possible. Really get my take on this. So, okay, Kamala Harris is running. They hoping that she wins the election. And they probably was hoping that if she wins, she can pardon his son. Of course, she don't win. All right, so both of those plans go down to two because they didn't work. So now they got the last alternative is now I got to eat my own words and pardon my son. Joe Biden had nothing to lose by that because he's not going to run again. He's done far as politically wise. So, of course, he's going to take advantage of what power he has left and pardon his son. He don't care about the whatever ridicule or anything that's going to come out of that. Look at his age. Why would I, if I'm Joe Biden, why would I care what people think at this point? my son's going to be out of jail. So I get it, that part. Is it right? And I want to know, those who are on this live and stuff like that, how y'all feel about it. You know what I mean? Let me know. Put it in the live, put it in the chat. Let me know how y'all feel about it. But that was my take on it. That's why I saw him, and that's why I'm like, okay, it's wrong. I disagree with it. I'm 100% disagree with what he did, but I kind of saw it coming because I'm like, okay, he's going to pardon his son, but he probably was going to let him sit for a while before he did it. But he didn't win the election. Kamala Harris didn't win the election. So now they got to go to, now I'm going to have to eat my words and pardon my son and get him so he don't have to be spending time in prison or whatever the case may be. He don't care what the ridicule that comes out of that. Joe Biden care less. He can care less what people got to say. He care less about that because at the end of the day, he's still pardoning them. Still pardoning them. So he don't care. But my thing is this, how would that have played out for anybody else? How would that have played out for anybody else? Anybody else that would be a regular, everyday, hardworking citizen, went out there and commit some type of crime or whatever case may be, how would that have played out for you? How would that have played out for you? And see, that's the part that's messed up about this whole thing. I don't care if Joe Biden pardoned his son. I do care because I think he was wrong, but I already expected it. So, and that's the type of stuff that the Democratic Party have a tendency to do. They say one thing out of their mouth and they do something else behind the scene. And that's where the corruption part that I have a problem with. And I'm not saying Republicans are so much innocent in a lot of stuff too. But my thing is this. Personally, I honestly think, and I know probably everybody's going to disagree with me on this one, is that I personally think that when Trump would have gotten in office, he probably would have pardoned Joe Biden's son at some point anyway. That's just my opinion on it. I know 100% I'm probably wrong, but judging by Trump's character, I think he would have probably did the same thing, let him sit for a couple of years and then pardon him, because that's just my opinion on it. I don't think, most people probably say, no, he's not going to do that, stuff like that. But I don't know. When I look into Trump's history of how he is as a person, my gut says that he probably would have pardoned him in there and explained to the people why he did it. And most people would have probably said, yeah, I get it. He wouldn't have just gave him a pardon. But I think Trump probably over time probably would have said, you know what, we're not going to leave the former president's son in jail for that long. Let's let him do a couple of years and then we're going to pardon him out. But they wasn't going to trust that. They wasn't going to trust that at all. But I just think Joe Biden, it was just so hypocritical of him. He just basically turned out to be more hypocritical than I thought, because you can't say all of that and keep emphasizing on we don't have rulers, we don't have kings, nobody's above the law. And you kept saying it and saying it and saying it and saying it and saying it. And you said it so many times. And after saying it so many times, then you turn around and do the very opposite of what you've been putting emphasis on, is nobody's above the law. But apparently you are. Apparently your kid is, because you're the president of the United States. It is what it is, but again, if anybody pay close enough attention to politics, they already knew he was going to do it. It just they wasn't able to do it the way they originally planned to do it, which was let him get sentenced, probably go to jail, and then eventually pardon him out. To say, okay, he paid his price, and it won't look so bad as opposed to him not spending no time in jail whatsoever. So it is what it is. I think it's messed up. I think it's flat out wrong. I totally disagree with it. Totally disagree with it. But, it is what it is. It is what it is. And, like I said, y'all give me y'all take on that one and what y'all think, how y'all personally feel about it. I just think it's wrong. And the other scary thing about all this is that I think they're going to try to do as much damage as they can before Trump gets in office. And that's the scary part. And I hope that they don't. But my personal opinion, I think that Joe Biden and them is going to try to do as much damage as they possibly can before they even leave office, before power is transferred over. What y'all think about that? Y'all let me know. Just put in the chat if you're on this live or whatever case may be. Please hit that like button. Please hit that subscribe button. I appreciate it very, very much. It just is. Like I said, I didn't agree with it. I totally didn't agree with it. But what you gonna do about it? What are we gonna do about it? We got to deal with what, the choices that are made. We got to deal with it. We're going to have to be okay with it at this point. But he was wrong. He was wrong. He was wrong. He definitely was wrong. But it is what it is. But I don't feel no kind of way about it. I really don't. I just I just thought it was hilarious, like, and so hypocritical of him to turn around and do what he did. I just think it was extremely hypocritical. And say what you want, say how you feel, whatever case may be. But I just said I thought it was extremely hypocritical and of him to do that. You know what I mean? But you know, I guess we gotta give him a pass because we know he voted for Trump. I don't give no why. I keep saying it. Everything in me says that Joe Biden went in there and voted for Trump. I think Joe Biden is sick of. I think he was so sick of Kamala Harris. He didn't know what to do. Because I'm gonna be honest with you, after the election was over with, and Joe Biden got out there and he started speaking, and I don't know if anybody listened to him speak. That was probably the most profound speech I've ever heard out of Joe Biden's mouth. He didn't stutter a word. He didn't skip over things. He didn't lose concentration on what he was saying. He was very fluent that day he spoke out after Trump won the election. And I'm telling you, he was happy as I don't know what. That's why I say he voted for Trump. I don't care what nobody says. I just think Joe Biden voted for Trump because his whole demeanor just drastically changed. And then I don't know if y'all saw the video of Joe Biden's wife and Kamala Harris, but you can see the tension between them two. You can see the tension between them two. So it was something going on behind the scenes. We don't know exactly what was going on, but it was something going on behind the scenes with that. But it's I just be glad when January 6th get here and we can get away and move on from that. You know what I mean, and get to the point where start working on our economy, the country, the safety, closing the border, and just many aspects of what's going on right now, so we can get the ball rolling and get back to making America great. I mean, and that's it. Just making America great, putting in the work, making sure we're doing what we need to do, getting our country back to where it should be. You know what I mean? Getting the citizens back some money in their pockets so they can live their life. You know what I mean? Like, people are struggling hard. Like, when I say people are struggling hard, I mean, I think that they're consistently gaslighting people as if the economy is not as bad as people feeling it. And it is. And I'm telling y'all it's better. It's worse than what the news media and the outlets are saying. I'm out in the streets and I see it. I hear it all the time. I hear it when you're talking to people. They hurting and they're hurting bad. And, they don't talk about all of the companies that are starting to lay off. You don't hear none of that stuff. And when I say it's massive ones, when, if you're a person that be on the stock market and follow any type of stock news, company news and stuff like that, you probably have more insight of these companies laying off and the jobs that are starting to be lost and cut and everything else, only for companies to try to increase their profit margin, because right now they're struggling. Even the companies, y'all keep thinking these companies are doing well in America, and they're not. They're laying off. A lot of companies are laying off. And they did a serious number on this country, and most of us saw it coming. Most of us saw it coming, but some people didn't. Some people didn't, and some people did. Can y'all hear me? Some people did. Oh, yeah, okay. All right, I was to check, see if you can hear me. But yeah, some people saw it, some people didn't. But I'm telling y'all that the economy is doing a lot worse than what the feds and what the news is putting out there. It is doing worse than that. Say what you want to say, it's doing worse, a lot worse. I know it's doing a lot worse because I'm out there and I see it. They're not telling you the truth. It's doing a lot worse than that. And these companies are laying off by thousands. A lot in a lot of places. But the news are not emphasizing on how bad the economy really is. We're not going to see the drastic change even after Trump gets in office. You're not going to see it immediately. It's going to take some time. If he does all the right things, it's going to take some time to get this economy back to where people can afford stuff. And that's the reality. But getting rid of or lowering payroll tax and lowering and allowing people to keep their overtime pay, that will give the economy a boost. That will give people, everyday working class citizens, an extreme boost so that they can kind of play. Some of them people will have to play catch up with a lot of bills and a lot of things that are going on in their life personally. But at least they have access to the money that they have to be able to fix the issues that are in their life. Because it's bad. It's getting worse. And I just think that the Democratic Party is going to try to do everything they can do to destroy as much as they can, because the Democratic Party does not care about the country. Their loyalty, unfortunately, is not to the country. They will act like their loyalty is to the country, but their loyalty is not to this country. The Democratic Party loyalty is to their party. That's what I keep trying to tell people. Their loyalty is not to American citizens. Their loyalty is to their party. Their loyalty is not to, when they start talking the stuff that they talk, you got to really pay attention to the details, the things that they're leaving out. That's why they fund these wars, and that's why they get all this stuff they got going on, because they're too busy trying to find ways to funnel money back to their party. I don't know nobody in all of these so-called foundations that they have that ever been helped by them. And I'm telling you, when you look at the way the money is going and the stuff that these people are putting money into, our government is putting money into, nowhere along the line is that helping American citizens. And unfortunately, California is doubling down on the stupidity. That's why California right now is just turning into a real big mess, because they're going to double down on the stupidity. And I'm being honest with you, let them do it. Let them do it. Let them keep doubling down on that stupidity that they're doing over there in California. And that's why I tell people right now, until further notice, I'm voting for Trump. I'm voting Republican. Until further notice. There's no way I would continue to vote for the Democratic Party, because they're so out of touch with reality, it ain't funny. They'll sit there and act like, oh, bread is not expensive, gas is not expensive. It all is expensive. Houses, everything is expensive. Why? Because you guys decided to do the dumb stuff, which is inflate government, which causes more problems than it fixes. The worst thing you can ever do is inflate government, because then it causes inflation everywhere else. And they're not fixing anything. They're not even trying to fix anything. 4 years of this administration that we have been living through, they have done nothing but wrong and hasn't done anything right. And the sad part about it is there's no accountability. Never once do you hear them say that they were wrong. You don't hear them come back and say, you know what, we made some bad choices, we made some bad decisions. They will double down on the stupidity and turn around and say, no, everything's great. Everything's going fine. The economy is on the road. Yes, it is. Everything's wonderful. That's what they will do. They will continue to double down on the stupidity. Like as if we're not buying the products that we're getting in the stores. We're not dealing with it. Listen, when you go into a restaurant in a big city, in any city, and you can sit down and eat on a Friday and no wait, that's a clear indication that something's bad. When you go into any popular restaurant and there is no waiting on a Friday to sit down and eat at after work hours, when people start to really hit the stores and stuff, and you can sit down and eat and it's still seats empty, that's not a good sign, because that tells you that people are doing everything they can to try to survive. No one's really living. A lot of people are not living right now, because when people are living, they'll take their family to the restaurant, enjoy themselves, go out and stuff like that. They're not doing that. They're not doing that. Everybody is trying to squeeze a dollar as far as they can squeeze it. And that's because we're living in an economy that was created by this administration that's currently in charge, and they did not once hold themselves accountable for the bad choices that they made. They blaming everybody else. The whole time they've been in office, they kept blaming Trump. Gas wasn't expensive when Trump was in office, so how you gonna blame him for that? Prices wasn't off the roof when he was in office, so how you gonna blame him for that? So y'all are doing the job right now. All of y'all in office are doing the job, and y'all still blaming other people for the job that y'all currently doing. It does not make sense. What are you talking about? Hold yourselves accountable. You supposed to get up there and say, listen, we made some choices, and we found out later that it was not the right choice. It wasn't the best thing for American citizens, and we were wrong, and we were reversing course. They're not doing that. That goes to show you how disloyal they are to this country. Because they didn't, not once did they try to reverse course on all of the stupid decisions that they make. They just kept the train rolling. Why? Because they're getting rich and they're getting wealthy and you're still struggling. And it perplexes me that black people still vote Democrat the way we do, as if something greater is going to come out of that. And you know, I say the same thing that I don't care about politics when we start in this conversation. Look at where we live and how it looks, and who's in charge, and where you live and how it looks. That's it. Forget all of the president and all of that stuff. I want you to look at where we live, what it looks like where we live, and who's in charge where most of us live. Philadelphia, Chicago, Baltimore, Maryland, and all of the big cities where Chicago, where all of the black people, the majority of black people live. Look at the conditions and look at who's in charge, and that tells you the real story. Don't listen to the news. Don't listen to none of that. I just want you to look at the faces that are in charge and where we are and where we live. And I get that tells you the real story. Rather you agree with me, disagree with me, you know, whatever. That tells you the real story. And how long are we going to continue to hold on to that? Again, if you're on this live, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Appreciate it very, very much. I really do. If you like these videos, you know, like some of the stuff that I do, please hit the notification button. That way you get notified every time I put out a video. You know what I mean? But, you know, again, you know, I knew I had a strong indication that Joe Biden was going to pardon his son. I didn't think it would happen the way he did it, but I had a strong indication that he was going to pardon his son. I knew what their plan was, but it backfired when Kamala Harris lost. And that's when they realized that, oh, I'm going to have to pardon my son myself now because she didn't win. I'm out. Plan went sour. So now I'm going to have to take the heat of pardoning my son myself. So it is what it is. I mean, you know, it is what it is. For those that are on this live, later on today around 6:30, I'll be doing another live. Probably a little bit on the same subject of, are you okay with what Joe Biden did? Of course, I'm not, but I'm not mad about it. Like, I just think it's hypocritical, but I'm not like mad, furious, upset. No, I'm not. I think he came off as a hypocrite because you put so much emphasis on law and order. You put so much emphasis on no one's above the law. And you put so much emphasis when they was going after Trump. And then you turn around and do what you did for your very own son. So that's where my problem is at. It's not so much of, you know, I'm not furious because I expected it on some level anyway. I just thought that they was, if for some reason, which I didn't think she would win this election by any means, but I think that was their plan of, oh, we win the election, we'll let my son in jail for a little while, and then we're going to pardon him out. That's what I thought their plan was, so it don't look so bad. But that plan went sour. So what they had to do was they had to reverse course, say, okay, I'm going to have to just take the heat for letting my son out of jail because not spend time in jail because I only have a little bit of time to be able to pardon my son. So that's why he went the way that he went. You know, it is what it is. You know, it is what it is. Now, I mean, it's wrong. I totally say it's wrong. I don't agree with it 100%. I don't agree with it. But if you expect something, when you see something kind of coming and you expect something, you kind of don't get mad and upset about it. You say, oh, I guess I was right about that one too. I mean, we all wrong about stuff all the time, but that one right there, I kind of expected. So it's like, you know, that's why I kind of think it's hilarious. And I did a little video, you know, that Joe really let his son go. He really let him go, you know, sarcastically saying, we knew it. We were, you know, most of us that paid a little more close attention to politics, we knew it. We knew he was going to do it. We just didn't, you know, it is what it is. It is what it is. But with that said, I'm going to get out of here. You know, again, like I always tell people whenever you on this lives or whatever case may be, regardless of anything I say, if Jesus Christ is not your Lord, you're missing the boat. He is there for you no matter what. He loves you no matter what. And he is there, and salvation is free and is extended to anyone and everyone. And we all need him. And I appreciate y'all hanging out with it, bro. Appreciate y'all joining this live with me. Again, I'll be back on at 6:30 later on today. If you want to get back in and watch, the show and see what the brother's talking about, then you're welcome. Other than that, y'all have a joyful, wonderful, blessed day. Peace.